Amid the icy waters of the great oceans, the true ruler is not the largest creature, but the smartest one. The orca, nature's perfectly designed hunter, moves like a strategic machine programmed by creation itself. They communicate through sound waves, coordinating every motion with precision so flawless that even the fastest prey has no escape. Each pursuit becomes a performance of intelligence and collective strength, where strategy takes the place of brute force. In a world beneath the waves where no laws exist, who could ever outsmart the most intelligent predator on the planet? Along the drifting ice floes around Antarctica, where freezing water meets the sharp wind from the frozen continent, seals often rest on smooth, flat blocks of ice. With bodies weighing hundreds of pounds and quick reflexes, they are fairly safe on the ice, until orcas rise from the dark depths. Instead of chasing, the orcas choose a unique technique: wave washing. The entire pod studies the wind direction, the thickness of the ice, and the position of the seal before lining up. When a silent signal is given, they accelerate together, creating a powerful wave that slams into the edge of the ice. The impact makes the ice shake, causing the seal to lose balance. This skill is not instinct alone. Young orcas swim alongside adults, watching each wave they create, how they adjust the angle of approach and the timing of acceleration. They learn by repeating, adjusting, and gradually stepping into key positions in the formation. Over many hunting seasons, the technique becomes a culture passed down through the pod. If the prey still holds its ground, the orcas circle back, sending another wave with even more force. Each surge is a calculation of distance and timing, with no wasted chaos. When the seal finally slips into the water, everything ends within just a few powerful strokes. This is clear proof that the strength of the orca does not lie only in muscle or speed, but in its ability to learn, adapt, and turn moving water into a precise hunting tool. Along the deep blue waters off the coast of South Africa, the great white shark appears like an ancient shadow of the ocean. With a body stretching over 20 feet and weighing nearly 5,000 pounds, it moves with the certainty of a ruler of warm seas. Its speed can reach about 35 miles per hour, and its finely tuned electrical sensors help it detect even the slightest movement from miles away. In a solitary world, it stands as a symbol of powerful and dangerous instinct. Yet when orcas appear, a different kind of strength comes into view. One that does not rely only on biting power or speed, but on perfect coordination between some of the sharpest minds in the ocean. Orcas do not just recognize a strong opponent, they read and unravel its weaknesses with remarkable calm. Beneath the surface, the nutrient-rich liver of the great white becomes a prized target, enough to sustain the pod through long journeys. Without any need to show off, the orca approaches with a precise strategy. One individual takes on the role of distraction, forcing the shark to twist and turn again and again. Others form a wide circle, using sound to gauge every stroke of its swim. When the moment is right, a well-timed body roll from below causes the shark to lose its advantage. Not because it is weak, but because the collective calculation of the orcas far surpasses solitary strength. In the instant when every movement seems to fall still, the ocean seems to remind that the most fearsome creature is not always the strongest one, but the species that turns intelligence into its ultimate weapon. In the world of marine life, few journeys are as long and demanding as the migration of the gray whale. Every year, they swim more than 10,000 miles, leaving the icy northern waters to reach the warm lagoons near Baja California. Along the way, mothers keep their calves close to their side, using their own bodies as a shield against large waves, ships, and hidden dangers beneath the surface. But the harshest challenge comes from an opponent patient enough to understand the rules of the deep, the orca. Instead of rushing in, they follow from a distance, waiting for narrow stretches of water or choppy zones, where the mother finds it harder to hold a perfect formation. When the moment comes, the pod spreads out, taking turns closing in, forcing the mother to keep turning back and forth to protect her calf. Each wave of pressure is like a test of endurance, slowly draining the energy of them both. Sometimes more than 24 orcas take part, each with a clear role. One group stirs up the area near the tail, another blocks the way ahead, while others hold a steady line along the sides. The ocean's surface erupts with white spray, but beneath it all lies an unseen order, a stream of sound signals passing between them, helping the entire pod move as if it were a single body. When the water finally calms, the ecological lesson remains. Even the giants of the sea are tested by long-range cooperative strategy. In this contest, without cheers or noise, orcas show that endurance, memory of migration routes, and the ability to work together are the real keys to gaining the upper hand on the open ocean. In the clear waters along the shores of the South Pacific, where dolphins move like silver arrows under the sun, the orca faces a very different kind of opponent. Dolphins are smaller, faster, and able to change direction in an instant, something few creatures can keep up with. They communicate constantly through sound, forming a refined warning network. In this swift world, they are nearly untouchable to most predators. But an orca presents a different challenge. It does not rely on pure speed, but uses coordinated strategy like an underwater team. First, the orcas split into two groups. One pushes from behind, forcing the dolphins to turn and break out of their normally tight formation. The other group waits ahead, cutting off escape routes with strong gliding passes, forming an invisible net within the water column. When a dolphin separates from the group, even just one, the opportunity opens. Orcas do not prolong the chase. They use a short, precise burst of speed to put the target off balance. Every movement is clean, controlled, and resolved quickly, keeping the pod safe and minimizing energy use during long journeys. For the orca, hunting dolphins is not only instinct, but also a test of reading the water, predicting direction, and coordinating with perfection. It is a moment when the ocean reveals a simple truth. In a race against one of the fastest creatures in the sea, it is not speed, but collective intelligence that decides the outcome. In the cold waters around the sub-Antarctic islands, where sea lions wander and rest near the shoreline, orcas reveal remarkable precision in choosing the right moment. They accelerate and slide halfway onto the shore, using momentum to close the distance in a single surge. A young sea lion, caught in a moment of distraction, is pulled back toward deeper water, where the orca formation is already waiting. Everything is clean, controlled, and perfectly timed. Not a single movement wasted. Farther from shore, the orcas switch to another tactic. A direct glide using the pointed front of their bodies to create pressure along the side of the sea lion. The goal is not direct harm, but to disrupt the animal's balance from within, gradually reducing its ability to resist. This technique requires exact angles of approach and precise body rotation. In deeper waters, the orcas use a third skill, tail flipping to hunt rays. Rays stay close to the seafloor and move quietly, so the orca sweeps its tail to stir up the bottom, forcing them up from the sand. Once exposed, the orca needs only a light glide to put the ray at a clear disadvantage. These tactics, controlled lunging and tail sweeping, prove that orcas are not only powerful, but capable of adapting to each species and habitat, like true strategists of the ocean. On the edge of the far north, a north wind lashes at 40 miles per hour, minus 40 degrees. Fahrenheit clamps the lungs, yet the polar bear keeps moving, precise as clockwork. It reads the wind, checks for cracks, and listens for the faint breath beneath the ice. Everything building toward a single moment. There is no margin for guesswork. There is no room for hesitation. One successful hunt can sustain it for many days. Failure can mean weeks of hunger. And today, which way will that moment tip? Late in the Arctic summer, when the tide recedes on a roughly 12-hour cycle, channels from river mouths narrow like a funnel. White belugas, 10 to 15 feet long and weighing 1,100 to 3,300 pounds each, are forced to pass through tight gaps with fast currents. The bear chooses a low, rocky outcrop, stands upwind to observe, measures the water's rhythm, listens for breaths rising against the ice, and waits for the moment to launch into the water. When the pod moves too quickly, it switches to swimming along the channel's edge to press the formation to turn. The polar bear is a master swimmer, able to sustain about 6 miles per hour for long periods and hold its breath for several minutes, unfazed by the current. But that tactic does not work. The belugas change direction instantly, diving out of reach in a split second. The bear does not waste energy. It leaves the rock and follows the channel for a few more miles to find another narrow opening. This time, it chooses an ambush strategy. When its sense of smell and hearing catch the rhythm of breaths under the ice, the moment for a burst of speed arrives. The advantage of sturdy paws and powerful claws is put to work at exactly the right time. The chase ends quickly, cleanly, and in silence. Not every ambush succeeds, but in this narrow gap, timing favors the patient one. The course of the encounter shifts in a single sweep of water along the ice edge. Along the ice fields off Svalbard and in the Chukchi Sea, polar bears sometimes approach walruses, giants over 10 feet long and up to 3,000 pounds. With skin nearly 2 inches thick and tusks extending more than 3 feet, walruses are formidable and not typical targets. Each encounter is therefore more opportunistic than planned. As summer ice breaks up, hundreds of walruses gather on large floes or sandy shores. The bear must choose its moment. Focusing on a younger or weaker individual that has drifted from the group offers the best chance. Yet even smaller walruses can respond powerfully, often causing the polar bear to withdraw. On land or in water, the advantage usually lies with the walrus. Hunts of this kind rarely succeed. The rate is very low because adult walruses can mount strong defenses. However, a newborn walrus can be a valuable find, a rich source of energy that helps the polar bear sustain strength through many cold days. In this severe, frozen world, survival belongs to those who make use of every bit of energy, where patience and adaptation are the only keys to endure. The Arctic is home to 6 key seal species: ringed, spotted, bearded, ribbon, gray, and harbor. Their total numbers likely reach into the millions across the ice edge, an energy reserve that sustains many predators. Among them, ringed seals measuring 4 to 5 feet and weighing about 110 to 150 pounds are frequent targets. They build small lairs beneath deep snow and maintain several breathing holes, roughly 8 inches in diameter, to draw air. Each time they surface is a gamble, because above the smooth ice, danger may be waiting. Above, the polar bear watches with patience. It moves slowly, placing 12-inch wide paws onto the ice, like a hunter feeling the heartbeat of the wind. Once it identifies a breathing hole, it can lie motionless for hours. A keen sense of smell can detect warmth and vapor from nearly half a mile away. When the seal rises, the ice goes completely still. In a moment shorter than a single breath, the polar bear secures its target. A successful hunt is uncommon, but each one is a reward for long days of cold and patience. The success rate for each seal hunt is only about 10 to 20%. Most efforts end in silence and hunger. If it fails, the bear must continue its solitary journey, walking more than 20 miles per day, sometimes for many days without food. Every step on melting ice is a test of endurance and the ability to conserve vital energy. On ice that thins with the season, each hunt is a fragile equation of energy, time, and opportunity. In that world, there is no luck, only persistence and the ability to wait for the exact moment. The polar bear is the largest land-dwelling carnivore, with adult males weighing from 900 to 1,600 pounds and measuring about 8 to 10 feet in length. Its massive body is wrapped in a double layer of white fur and a fat layer up to 4 inches thick, providing insulation in temperatures that can drop to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Not only powerful, they are also refined movers. Paws reaching up to 12 inches wide act like natural snowshoes, spreading weight while moving across thin ice. A highly sensitive sense of smell allows them to detect seals from over 1 mile away. In a world where the line between survival and hunger is determined by stored energy, the polar bear represents pure survival mastery, strength, patience, and absolute adaptation in a realm of unyielding ice and wind. On the ice-covered coastal slopes, reindeer, resilient grazers, cross wind-swept valleys in search of lichen. Their agile legs help them climb and run for many miles without stopping. Antlers act like twin hooks that protect the formation. During migration, the trails pressed into the snow can inadvertently become corridors a polar bear uses for an ambush. The bear's strategy is separation. An individual that drifts from the herd due to fatigue, youth, or a minor injury. On deep snow along high slopes, each step slows the reindeer. The bear regulates its breathing and closes the distance with short bursts of speed. And it is very hard to escape. In another case, when a reindeer is driven to the edge of a frozen lake, it may be forced to plunge into 32 degrees Fahrenheit water. There, swimming ability and cold tolerance help the bear draw closer. It gains control in the water and ends the chase, then brings it to shore, fast, controlled, and silent. The pivotal moment passes quickly. The bear gains control and pulls the prey onto land, prioritizes fat-rich portions to refuel, then buries the remainder under snow to avoid detection. A hard-won result that demands patience, endurance, and a precise read of terrain, a testament to top-tier adaptation in the far north. As late-season ice flows split and drift, cold waters open travel routes for narwhals, the so-called unicorns of the sea, with tusks up to 10 feet long and body weights nearing 3,500 pounds. They often move in small groups, swimming along the ice edge to find food, and at times approach shorelines where polar bears may be concealed. It is hypothesized that encounters between the two species are rare, but not impossible. When the tide shifts, narwhal pods may be forced to pass through shallow water near the coast. A polar bear can stand on the ice margin, observe from a distance, then choose a moment to slip into the water to intercept or swim alongside to break the formation. Yet in most cases, such surges end in failure. Narwhals are fast and strong, able to dive deep to escape. On a rare occasion, a narwhal remains is pushed by currents toward the shore. For a polar bear, it is an unexpected gift from the ocean, a valuable source of energy that helps it recover after many hungry days. In the bitter wind and pale northern light, the scene is not cruelty, but part of the balance within nature's cycle of survival. In the harsh world of the Arctic, sometimes life is forced to choose the most difficult path. When extended melt seasons limit the ice and food becomes scarce, a polar bear may turn its attention toward its own kind. This is not common behavior. It is a survival response when energy is nearly gone and opportunities to hunt are almost zero. In these moments, an adult male may overpower a cub by using weight and speed to separate it from its mother, pushing it towards the ice edge. The mother's desperate resistance may not be enough to change the outcome. The chase ends in silence, with only the wind sweeping across the ice. It is not cruelty or moral failure. In a world where energy is everything, such decisions come from the deepest instinct to stay alive. In the Arctic, morality is not measured by compassion, but by the ability to endure through the endless winter. On any wild river, crocodiles are the ones in control, nature's true masters of ambush. In a split second, with a sudden burst of power, they turn calm into chaos. A peaceful riverbank becomes a boundary between life and death. Between predator and prey, sometimes a single flick of the tail or one explosive surge from below is enough to decide the outcome. Each surprise strike is a reminder that no creature can afford to let its guard down for even a moment at the water's edge. During the dry season in the Luangwa Valley, the air grows thick and heavy. The ground splits open, fine dust coats every path, and the last remaining pools of water become a fragile lifeline between survival and exhaustion. The deer herd gathers at the water's edge, lowering their heads to drink with a caution that has been carved into their instincts over the years. Yet that calm surface hides an invisible boundary where risk and safety are separated by a single step. When the distance is close enough, the water suddenly stirs. A lightning-fast surge sends the herd scattering in panic, and in a single breath, one deer is pulled from the safe edge and drawn into deeper water, where the crocodile holds the clear advantage. Even so, the crocodile's success rate when hunting deer here remains fairly modest, at only about 20 to 30%. But Luangwa is not only a stage for perfectly executed ambushes. In another part of this valley, a buck dashes into a waterhole, trying to escape a lion closing in. It believes the water will offer shelter, but just below the surface, a crocodile is waiting. The sudden strike nearly costs it its chance to survive, yet sharp reflexes allow it to scramble back onto the bank just in time. Cornered between danger in the water below and the predator on land, it has no choice but to turn and face the threat. In that moment, its horns become its only defense, and that determined stand is enough to make the lion back off. These moments show that nature does not follow a single repeating script. Animals that seem to be at a disadvantage can still turn the situation around when they draw on instinct, endurance, and focus at just the right moment. Even seasoned predators like cheetahs cannot escape the feeling of danger rising from beneath the water. While drinking, this cheetah shows clear caution, trying to catch even the smallest movement. Yet in the murky water, the crocodile is the one holding the absolute advantage. The attack comes so quickly that the cheetah has no time to react, creating a one-sided moment of dominance. A hunter skilled on land is suddenly drawn into a situation where the crocodile controls every angle. The deep water becomes a battleground that belongs entirely to the crocodile. This scene is a reminder that in the wild, no predator holds complete safety. On another riverbank, 3 cheetahs have just dragged their meal onto the sand when a group of crocodiles climbs up from the water, using their numbers to take the food entirely. Seeing the disadvantage, the cheetahs can only watch from a distance. They do not risk a confrontation and instead swallow their frustration, quietly keeping this loss for another opportunity. In the world of crocodiles, encounters between their own kind are not just about competing for a meal. When the dry season arrives and water levels drop, The river shrinks into still, narrow channels, forcing each individual to choose the best position to survive. Every sandbar and every patch of shade becomes a precious resource, and every crocodile understands that no one can give ground for long. Tension rises further when territorial instincts awaken. Especially in the breeding season, mature males grow more alert, guarding their area like a fortress. The moment another crocodile comes too close, the surface erupts with movement. Yet these confrontations rarely last long. Once one of them loses the advantage, it quickly dives deep and slips away from the disputed water, preserving its strength for the days ahead. In another stretch of marshland, as the afternoon light leans across the water, a group of wild boars approaches the soft, muddy edge to drink. Suddenly, a crocodile that has been hidden for a long time surges upward in a swift attempt to strike. But the herd's reaction is completely different from the weakness the predator expects. Two adults instantly turn, rushing forward like living arrows, forming an instinctive wall that blocks its approach. The situation shifts in an instant. The crocodile is forced to keep its distance, while the herd quickly tightens its formation, placing the young boar safely in the center. That moment shows that in nature, unity and protective instinct can become a force strong enough to halt even the most patient ambusher. In another encounter, the young boar is not as fortunate. This time, a lightning-fast snap leaves it no time to react, and it is pulled into deeper water. The scene reinforces the crocodile's dominant position in the river realm. During the Great Migration across the African plains, zebras are forced to cross river stretches where crocodiles wait patiently. Tens of thousands of individuals move in a repeating rhythm that barely changes from year to year, as if the grasslands carried an invisible clock guiding every journey. At the water's edge, a few bold zebras step down first, sending a wave of hesitation through the herd before they all commit together to the challenge. In that moment, the question is no longer whether to cross, but how to get across and continue the vital journey ahead. The crocodiles do not need to watch each animal. They only need to feel the vibrations in the water as the entire herd plunges in. From many directions, long bodies quietly adjust their positions, turning the river bend into a swirling zone of confusion. A young zebra is separated from the group, and in a single rising rush of water, it becomes the most exposed target. With a short, precise surge, the crocodile quickly gains control of its prey, bringing the chase to an end in an instant. Crocodiles keep the herds from growing beyond what the land can support, while zebras, through each season of crossing, pass on to the next generation the lessons of unity, vigilance, and seizing the right moment. The migration is not only a search for fresh grass, but also the greatest survival classroom of the plains. On sun-cracked riverbanks, the wildebeest herd slowly moves toward the water's edge after a long journey. Thirst pushes them to stop, but instinct keeps the whole herd stepping forward with caution. For the younger animals, the river is simply a place to drink. For the older ones, every step closer to the edge brings back memories of past danger. Beneath the murky surface, a crocodile lies almost completely still. Its heavy body presses close to the riverbed, with only its eyes and nostrils resting just a few inches below the surface. Its strategy is to wait for the herd to move closer on its own. Position, distance, and depth are all calculated through experience from many seasons of rising and falling water. When the herd begins to lose focus and crowds in for a place to drink, that is the signal. The crocodile surges forward in a short, precise burst, leaving the wildebeest almost no time to react. One individual loses its footing and is pulled from the edge in an instant, and the chase ends right there. Once the jaws have a firm hold, the chance of escape is almost gone. Soon after, the riverbank returns to its quiet appearance, with only widening ripples left on the surface. Another herd of wildebeest eventually arrives and repeats the familiar cycle, as if nothing had happened. Each crossing becomes a costly lesson carried in the herd's instinct. The water does not only bring life, it also hides a strict test of alertness and discipline. At the shallow water's edge at the end of the dry season, the air always carries a quiet tension that cannot be seen, but everyone can feel. This is where two leading forces from two worlds, the lion of the savanna and the crocodile of the river, are forced to meet. And when both move toward the same remaining source of food, the ground seems to hold its breath, waiting to see what nature will create next. No one rushes in. Neither side wants to make the first move. Each displays its power in its own way, strong enough to serve as a warning. When both reach for the food in the middle of the channel, the fragile balance between them instantly begins to shake. Only the utmost caution of two rivals, who both know that a single misstep could tilt the scales of survival to the other side, keeps things in check. In the end, when neither truly gains the upper hand, a strange silence settles over the water. They stand still for a few breaths before both lower their heads and each takes a share. It is not agreement, and certainly not peace, but a moment when nature forces the strongest creatures of two realms to accept sharing the same fragile table at the river's edge. beneath the seemingly calm surface lies a world of constant calculation. Hundreds of piranhas weave through the murky brown water, silently waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Every vibration is a signal, every ripple a challenge. When the opportunity arises, they shift from stillness to chaos in an instant. Precise, cold, and absolute. This is not merely a tale of predators, but a symphony of instinct, where every creature must fight, in its own way, for the simple right to survive. During the rainy season in the Lani region, rising floods expand the rivers, allowing piranhas to drift freely with the current. On the last stretches of dry land, the great white egret builds its nest. If a single chick falls into the water, that tiny splash instantly awakens the hunters below. Much like sharks, piranhas possess an extraordinary sensitivity to movement, reacting to even the slightest vibration. When the surface ripples, the entire school converges, completing the harsh survival cycle that nature has long ordained. In this world, the boundary between life and loss is nothing more than a single heartbeat of instinct. In the murky waters of the South American rainforest, a school of red-bellied piranhas drifts silently until a young green anaconda slides across their path, and the calm is instantly broken. The ripples from the snake's body trigger a deep predatory instinct, and the school quickly closes in. Without spectacle, each precise, coordinated strike reveals the strength of unity. The anaconda twists and struggles in the narrow waterway, but numbers and speed soon drain its energy. In nature, the role of predator is only ever temporary. Today's hunter may become tomorrow's prey. In a narrow stretch of water, a lone catfish drifts into the midst of a hungry school of red-bellied piranhas. The confined space heightens their agitation, turning quiet tension into restless motion. At first, the catfish stays calm, circling slowly in an effort to avoid them. But within moments, the water begins to swirl. The piranhas surge forward in unison. The sudden waves leave the larger fish with nowhere to go. When the current finally settles, only faint flashes of silver shimmer beneath the muddy surface. For the piranhas, it is more than just a meal. It is proof of an instinct sharpened by millions of years of evolution. Beneath the shadowy waters of the Amazon and Orinoco, the piranha is not the ruthless attacker many imagine. It is an opportunistic feeder, surviving on the leftovers of the river's endless cycle of life. Its razor-sharp teeth are tools for endurance amid fierce competition, not weapons of cruelty. In the wild, more than 30 different species of piranhas share the same domain, each playing a vital role in keeping the river ecosystem balanced. The red-bellied piranha, the most famous of them all, often portrayed as frenzied, becomes truly aggressive only when food is scarce or when it feels threatened. Meanwhile, the black piranha, small but formidable, holds an astonishing record. Its bite force can reach up to 30 times its body weight, a ratio few vertebrates can match. Beneath calm waters, they stand as proof of nature's unchanging rule. Strength exists not for attack, but for survival. An unlucky red carp drifts into the midst of a hunting school of red-bellied piranhas. In the confined space, the fish move like a storm, closing tightly around a target many times their size. The carp thrashes in panic, but its struggle only fuels the hunter's instinct. Within seconds, the surface flashes with silver light, a brief, unequal contest for survival. In another scene, the piranhas gather around the carp's remains, each swift, precise motion completing a rapid feast in the murky water. When the turbulence fades, only an empty patch remains. A cold reminder that in nature's design, piranhas leave nothing behind. Though piranhas live in groups and move with remarkable coordination, there is a darker side to their instinct. When food becomes scarce, order within the school quickly dissolves. Each individual is driven by a single purpose: survival. A wounded red-bellied piranha becomes the center of attention. Instead of offering protection, its companions begin to draw closer, their survival instinct overpowering any sense of unity. One decisive bite is all it takes, and the ancient reflex of competition takes control. With a bite force of around 70 psi, piranhas show that strength and survival instinct are inseparable. In their world, loyalty fades the moment hunger returns. A bullfrog suddenly falls into a water tank, unaware that a school of hungry red-bellied piranhas already waits below. At first, the frog seems calm, not yet sensing the danger surrounding it. But within seconds, the surface erupts. The fish rush forward in a reflex of pure instinct, their lightning-fast movements leaving the frog no chance to react. It struggles briefly, but every escape route has already closed. In another scene, the frog drifts quietly in the water. The piranhas gather, circling with astonishing speed. In moments, the feeding ends, leaving behind only faint traces. According to researchers from the Institute of Aquatic Studies, this response is not merely about feeding. It is a survival strategy that helps piranhas maintain their place in an intensely competitive ecosystem. Normally, caimans, especially the black caiman, prey on piranhas for food. But when the balance of survival shifts, the roles of hunter and prey can reverse. An injured or dead caiman becomes a valuable source of nutrients for the ever-watchful school of piranhas waiting below. In a rare recorded scene, hundreds of piranhas surround a lifeless caiman. Beneath the muddy surface, they move in perfect coordination, consuming the remains with precise, coordinated movements within minutes. The sight is both intense and astonishingly precise. A natural demonstration of how these small yet formidable fish help cleanse the rivers of the Amazon. In the wild, piranhas are opportunistic feeders, consuming small fish, insects, and even plants. But in the confined space of an aquarium, their survival instinct can turn them far more aggressive. When food runs low, the school may attack one another or break down anything that falls into the water. Limited space heightens stress and competition, a stark contrast to the vast rivers of their natural habitat. In one striking scene, hundreds of red-bellied piranhas rush toward small pieces of meat dropped into the tank. At first, only a few approach cautiously. Then suddenly the entire school erupts into a whirl of movement. The water foams and spins like a living machine with no pause. It is a vivid reminder of their wild power, swift, precise, and perfectly efficient in their own world. An eel is dropped into a tank filled with dozens of hungry red-bellied piranhas. Driven by instinct, it darts frantically through the water, but its panic only draws the school closer. In seconds, the calm turns into a whirlpool of instinct, each short, powerful, and precise movement sealing the eel's fate. Its strength fades quickly, leaving behind only emptiness and the brief memory of a failed escape. From another angle, the scene reveals an astonishing display of coordination. The moment the eel stops moving, the piranhas divide the meal among themselves, acting like a flawless mechanism of nature. That fleeting chaos is more than a feeding frenzy. It is a living testament to the law of the Amazon, where speed and instinct rule all. Across the deep blue ocean, the orca stands not just as a hunter, but as nature's strategist. Its power lies not in muscle, but in the ability to unite and understand every current around it. From the frozen Arctic to the mysterious depths, it reminds humanity that intelligence remains the greatest weapon of all. The ocean still echoes with the song of this perfect predator, a symphony of power and harmony. If you're fascinated by stories of wisdom and strength from the sea, please like, subscribe, and join us in uncovering the next secrets of the wild world.